people in and around the community of people who have struggled, friends, family, colleagues, can have a pretty tremendous impact, positive and negative, on somebody's struggles. So I think the first and most important part of this answer is not necessarily what somebody can do, but what somebody believes, without getting into specifics. Right? As many different sets of struggles as there are people having struggles. But there are commonalities. Addiction is the result of having a tough time, getting along in this world, having a sense of belonging, purpose, worth, being acceptable, lovable, likable, having really difficult experiences, traumas, events that are just awful, or experiences of being marginalized, being part of groups that struggle. The important thing for loved ones here is to shift away from viewing the behavior as a problem and viewing the behavior as a solution to a much bigger, deeper problem. Sort of transitioning from that belief system that, wow, this is somebody that's having a really tough time, into what can I do about it? One of those things is to protect yourself. People do all sorts of awful things to themselves and to other people, confusing things. And those things are somewhat predictable. If something's happened and if nothing changes, it's probably going to happen again. And to protect yourself from that is really important for you and the person you care about. Finding a way to be honest with somebody. Honesty is, I think, most powerful when it's about our experience rather than being honest with somebody about their experience. So there's a difference between it hurts me, I get sad or I get angry or I get disappointed when you do or say these things, versus you are a jerk for doing that, right? That might feel honest to you, but that's a judgment, and that's fair too. But in terms of what's most helpful is to really be honest about what it means to you. And to speak to your fears. I worry for you. It scares me that you do this because I don't want to see you get in a car wreck because you're blacked out and driving. That sort of honesty and intimacy is really, really important. A consistent experience that I've heard across the board, I can't think of a single experience where this hasn't been true working with in all these years in addiction treatment, is there's an isolation and a loneliness that comes with that struggle that I mentioned. And then the behavior, when the addiction is present, the overconsumption of substances or the overspending or all of these different ways that addictive behaviors can come out, they create more isolation because people get hurt and then they keep that hurt to themselves as well and just push away the person. These kinds of things that I'm suggesting are ways of connecting, to say, I see you, I see your struggle, and your struggle has an impact on me, and this is how it affects me. And I'm curious, how does it affect you? How do you feel? What does this do to you? Besides the hangover, but including that, how do you feel in the morning about this? Is there remorse? Or not? Maybe not. I'm not suggesting that I know what's going to happen. And then establishing, sort of real boundaries to really kind of decide if you're going into something, what's the best way of taking care of yourself? Arriving at a certain time and leaving at a certain time. If you're going in and you have a whole family full of people whose drinking or consumption habits are beyond what you like, there's no reason to stay and to subject yourself to more pain. And if it's really hard to leave, then recruiting allies to support you, to help you, hey, this person always gets drunk, and when they do or say these things to me, and it sucks. Can you kind of help me? And this is how I want your help. I want you to do this, or I don't want you to do that. These are great ways to sort of protect yourself. And what's not helpful is to focus on the substances or the behavior. So somebody that's already having a tough time and they're using, let's say, alcohol as a way of dealing with the isolation they feel, or the difficulty of being at the party or the celebration or whatever it might be. To suggest to that person to drink less, for example, it really just doesn't work. What it does is it just makes them feel worse. And if they're using because they're having a tough time, adding to the tough time rarely helps. It's asking them to something that if they could, they would probably do it to begin with. So it's about sort of establishing boundaries, recognizing the pain that person is feeling, trying to connect with that person, letting them know that you're there for them, and you're going to protect yourself from them to the extent that that's important. I think that's about the best that we can do for those that we care about, and allow them to come to a place that says, why do I do this? What motivates this? What is it that really makes me need to do this? I think that's that first step towards healing.